Hello, guys. This is Mr. Brooks coming to you with a tech tip for making life in the digital classroom just a little bit easier. Um, One of the great things that I was able to do when I taught fourth through sixth grade, because I was self contained and I really wanted my students to learn how to access technology and how to read off computer. As a computer screen, because that is so important anymore with testing, as we all know, is making sure we have Google assignments and Google Doc assignments that help them with their typing skills, but learning how to again practice teaching or learning online, and just learning in this new digital age. So one of the extensions that, as a teacher, I would like to show you today is actually this one right here. So I'm gonna grab my highlight click here, or let's see if I could do this one. Let's see this one. So I'm gonna do this here, and it's going to be what's called the Google Classroom extension. So Share to Google Classroom has is an extension you can find on the Chrome store. So just to kind of pop over and show you that real quick. So if I want to go to the Chrome store, you can go to your Chrome web store here. So make sure you just kind of come here. So I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to search Google Classroom. The Chrome store is a great place to find numerous extensions that work with you and make it a lot easier to work with. So the extension I'm going to be working with you guys or explaining to you guys today is Share to Google Classroom. What's great about this is it automatically connects to your Google account. So this is my work account that I have. This will work with most school districts or most Gmail accounts, the G Suite accounts that schools have. So I'm going to go back to Google over here, so you can add that to your extensions here. From there, one of the websites I used to use a lot was Dogo News, because they have a lot of great kids articles that really get kids involved in a variety of things when it comes to just articles in general that they have, which is really cool. A lot of things that they have are videos embedded into the articles, so students can not only read the article, but they can also watch it. So one of the great things I used to do with my students is they would be assigned an article a week. So from there, I might click on one of these articles here. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this article here. And from there, what's again great is they have all this to read. I really like this again because it gives highlighted vocabulary. It gives an opportunity for kids to look at what words mean. And it gives a chance to really look at where it comes from, how's it used in sentences. But again, it's a great little website. But back to the extension that we're using. So, for example, I may really want to use this article. I had a Google Doc created with this assignment. So what I might do if I wanted to use this is I would go ahead and click on my extension here. So I'm going to share this particular article with my classroom. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that. And I'm going to go ahead and attach it to my old guided reading class from my sixth graders that I had a couple years ago. They're no longer in this class, so it's a good little way to practice and show you guys what I mean. So I'm going to go ahead and click on guided reading. So what's great is this will, if your kids are in class, you can actually push this to your students on the spot. So which is cool. So you can actually send it to them right away. You can also have it received from students. What I'm going to actually show you today is I'm going to actually create a assignment. So you can create an assignment. You can ask a question about the reading. You can make an announcement. What I would used to do is I would create an assignment, and from here, you can go ahead and create an assignment right off the bat. You don't even have to go to Google Classroom. That's why I like this extension so much. So this would be Dogo News assignment. And then I would always put the due date. So, for example, next Friday would be June 6th, roughly. I would type in some instructions here on what I expect them to do. And then the materials, what's great, I guess, right here, you can see is that you have the link already in this extension here. All my Dogo News assignments were about 10 to 20 points throughout the year. I'd increase the point value, so I'll go ahead and up it to 20. The due date would be, again, next Friday. So, the 5th. So I'll have to come back up here and change it. Sometimes that's what happens. So, again, I would type some instructions there. So for the topic, I would go ahead and put this under Dogo News articles. My students always knew to look there for articles, which is great. And then from here, the great thing is, again, you can assign, you can schedule, you can save a draft. Again, there's a lot of great things here. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. One of the things was, if this is something like I just came across and I didn't want to lose it, I wanted to make sure I put this in right away. So I would go ahead and assign this here, and then I can either assign it, or what I would do is I would save it as a draft. Most oftentimes, especially if I was adding things to a Google Doc, with Google Docs, I'd go ahead and just save it as a draft, because when you save it as a draft, then you can go back and then you can actually add links to it later on. So for me to find that, I would go to classwork, and then I would go to my Dogo News article. And if I scroll, there it is. There's my draft. I can go ahead and hit edit. And then from there, I can go ahead and add a file, and usually I would, that was already created with Dogo News. Dogo News, when you buy their subscription, they already have pre-made questions and writing prompts that go with your subscription. So I always would pay for my subscription, but then I would take their worksheets that they had online, just because it was just easier for me to make it a Google Doc instead of having it a PDF and then go through the process of finding a program that would make it an editable PDF. So I would just turn it into a Google Doc. I could then add that file here, and then I would be done with my assignment. So again, that was always one of the great things about this particular Share to Classroom extension that I really liked. So it works really well with creating assignments. So I'm going to go ahead and exit out of this window, and I'm going to go back, and I'm going to go to another thing that my students used to watch, which was CNN 10. And from there, I would click on CNN 10. And it's another great website around just basic news information. What I really liked about CNN 10 was they didn't get into the politics, or they didn't get into the particular ins and outs of opinions. It was pretty much very fact-based. And it wasn't all about politics like I just discussed. It had a lot of current events, but then it also went into a lot of educational things, what was going on in science, what was going around as far as from a kid's perspective. This was really geared towards middle school and high school. So my 6th and 7th graders really liked watching this and responding to it. Something that they really liked was the fact that they got to understand a little bit more of what the world was outside their school and outside their block or the street that they live on. So again, this is something that I might have them watch. So I'll go up here to my Share to Classroom. I'm going to go ahead and click on it. For here, it would be under the morning work class that I used to have, but I'll go ahead and put it under my Avid elective class this time. So again, I could have them create an assignment because they do have classes, or they have assignments where we could have a Google Doc around this. The other thing I might do, and what I typically did, was I would ask a question. So for example, if I wanted to ask a question, I could type out what were 5 topics in the news today that you enjoyed and why. One of the things in the instructions I used to leave for my students would be to respond to 2 other students about their posts today and tell me if you agree or disagree with what they found interesting. I think this was really important as I fix my grammar mistake here. Again, teachers aren't not perfect. I know, shocker. But, sometimes we need to show our mistakes so that way our students also see them as well and bring us down from our pedestal. So besides that point, one of the things is when I had my students respond to each other, what was really important was that my students learned how to have intellectual conversations and thoughtful conversations on an online format and an online platform, because I believe one thing lacking in our society today is to have meaningful discourse on online platforms. And what better way to teach our students how to have those discussions and to be thoughtful and purposeful with those conversations is through Google Classroom. It's again one of my favorite apps that has ever come into education, and I believe that we as teachers can really have power and really teach kids the correct ways of having conversation via a internet platform. So from there, I would go ahead and I would again go about my points, which is again great. So again, being on this particular extension, it just shows us that we can do everything just like we would on Google Classroom, but we don't have to go to Google Classroom, copy the link, paste it into Google Classroom. We can just do it all here without, going back and forth between pages. So with that being said, this is something that I would maybe create a new topic. It would be CNN 10 reflections. And then I can choose here. Students can reply to each other. I always have students can edit their answers. I really think it's important that if students don't have a sufficient response, that they have an opportunity to go back and redo their work to better their score. I'd rather see the growth in learning rather than penalize them for not having the maturity yet to maybe to put effort and time into an assignment. And that's something we know as teachers is a process. It's not something that happens overnight. So from there, everything looks good. Again, I could assign this to some students. I can assign it to all students. This is also a good thing when it comes to Socratic seminars and you want to split groups up and they have to watch different videos or read different articles. And you can, again, all your Google Classroom, entities as far as where you want to put things, it's great. It's all right here. So I would go ahead and ask the question. Again, I might be working on something and, I'm just going to say, you know what, I can schedule this. I don't really want this to be kicked out yet. So I'll kick it out for Monday next week. So I'll click on that. Yep, 8 a.m. sounds great. So I'll go ahead and schedule. And off that, it will go ahead and put that in my classroom. Just to make sure, I always click view. That way it makes sure, or I follow up and make sure that it is going to be posted. So again, I'll go to my classwork and then I would go to CNN 10 reflections. Oh, look at that. So it's going to be scheduled for June 1st at 8 o'clock a.m. And here is my 5 topics. or what were the 5 topics today in CNN 10 that I wanted them to, that was talked about, and what did they like, and here's the instructions, respond to 2 other students' posts, and here's your link. So if I click on the link, it will take me straight to the link I was before, which again is a handy tool to have. So then that way they can't say, well, I don't know where you want me to go, or I can't find where I'm supposed to go. If you click on the link, it's kind of hard not to miss. So again, one of the great things about Google Classroom I really enjoy. So again, I'll go back to edit just so you can see how everything is going on there. Everything is posted where it needs to be. And then from there, you can again select all students. You can select some students if I just want these 3 students to do this article. It's totally up to you as far as what you expect from your students. So again, I hope this Share to Classroom extension was maybe a useful tip for you when it comes to Google Classroom and how to manage your time when it comes to creating assignments online. I know it has for me. So again, just leave your comments in the bar below. And if you like this video and you think it could help somebody else, please click and hit the share button to share it with others that could be that this could help. So again, thanks guys, appreciate it.